Hey guys, Dani here, and welcome to my little corner of the internet. I don't know how many of you guys know this, but October is actually Learning Disability Awareness Month. And as a disability advocate myself, as well as someone who lives with learning disabilities, this is something that is very important to me and something that I would like to continue to share my story about, my struggles about, so that more people can know what it's like to live with learning disabilities and can better empathize with those people, as well as if there's any teachers that come across this channel, by hearing my story, they will be able to better serve their future kids. So if you want to hear the story about how I got kicked out of my university music program because of my learning disabilities, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and click that subscribe button, and let's get into the story. So, I had initially auditioned for this music program at this particular university in grade 12. I did the whole audition process. I got accepted into the university. I even was offered a scholarship. I ultimately chose to go to a different university where I went for about a year. There was a bunch of things that happened. I ended up having a basically mental breakdown, and clearly a story for a different time. And I ended up going back to that original university for the following year. So because I had already auditioned in grade 12, they pretty much just automatically accepted me. I didn't have to re-audition. I didn't have to do anything extra for that. What I realized when I got there that next September was that whomever I had auditioned for, who was the head of the music department at the university at the time, had switched over, so it was a different person. Just so you guys know, I am not going to be naming this university at all. If you have seen my podcast or other things that I have done, I have never mentioned the name of this university, and that is because I had an absolutely horrible experience at this university. I was treated very, very badly. It was the worst 3 years of my life. But I will never dignify this university with their name. They don't it will never leave my mouth because I don't want them to have any kind of recognition. I don't want to pretty much ever say that I ever went there. It was just bad. So I'm just not going to name them. I'm just going to call them the university. That's just how this is going to be, because quite frankly, they're not even worth the signage that their sign is written on, honestly. It's bad. So like I said, once I got to the university, I realized that the heads of the music department had switched in that year for whatever reason. So there was a new guy. The original guy that I had auditioned for, they were already well aware of my learning disabilities. They had accommodated me very well for my audition process. Because of my dyslexia, I can't read music. Okay, let me rephrase that. I can read music. If you put it in front of me, I can read it. I've passed all of my rudiments. But if I am, especially sight singing is a big problem for me, because just like in dyslexia, where if you're trying to read, all of the words get jumbled, for me, all of the the music notes also get jumbled on the page. So I have a very hard time doing things like sight singing and other things. I've actually developed a lot of tricks to help myself. And fun fact, I actually got to grade 3 piano before anyone realized that I couldn't read a single note, because I was entirely playing by ear and nobody had figured that out. So I've always just been able to find workarounds. It's never been an issue. The old person who originally auditioned me was super accommodating. This new head of the music department basically didn't believe that dyslexia translates into music as well. And so he just thought I was bad. Super bad. So bad, in fact, that he legitimately questioned how I got into the university the year before in the first place. Because what was happening was essentially he would hand me a sheet of paper, expect me to sight sing it, or put a piece of music in front of me and expect me to be able to play it when I couldn't, and I couldn't because I couldn't see it. So this was honestly just a semester of absolute hell. So I was in the basic piano class that you have to take in your first year of any music degree. And obviously anytime he would stick music in front of me, I couldn't play it. He, like I said, just thought I was stupid. Stupid to the point where he got me a tutor for music because he was so frustrated he just didn't want me in his class. Like, legit, the man would not let me into his class. Yeah. So instead of accommodating me for what I needed based on my learning disabilities and what is legally required, yes, it's against the law to not accommodate people, just fun fact there. He put me with a tutor so I wouldn't be in his class and I'd have to just go to the tutor. And the tutor, she was very sweet. Like, we stayed friends all throughout the rest of my university career. We were still friendly on a friendly term, but she was also getting frustrated because the thing about classically trained musicians and how the music education structures kind of work, it's very, very rigid. Super rigid. There is no bending the rules kind of. There just is what it is. They want you to do specifically what they expect you to do, and that's it. I have been trained by the Royal Conservatory of Music my whole life, and because they know what the law is and they follow the law, they were very accommodating, and I did very, very well through the Royal Conservatory. But these people, I guess because maybe they didn't have the resources, I don't know, maybe they didn't understand, they were just completely unwilling to accommodate me. So I just got labeled as stupid. And I failed my piano class. And then I also failed my theory class. And I failed my theory class by 3%. But you want to know why I failed my theory class? First of all, part of that theory class included sight singing. That was a big chunk of the grade. And like I said, I cannot sight sing. I will never, ever be able to sight sing because of my dyslexia. So that part, every time that those sections came up, I would pretty much get 0. And then on top of that, because of my learning disabilities, I always write my tests in a separate room. So the final exam, I would write in a separate section in basically the accessible learning center of the school. And they make sure that all my accommodations get met. Well, part of the sight singing, you need a piano to give you like the first note and stuff like that. So what was supposed to happen was I was supposed to write the written part of my theory test and be given all of the extra time that I am, again, legally entitled to. And then after I did the theory part, I would go back to the classroom. The exam would have been over for all the other kids anyway, and the teacher was supposed to be there to give me my sight singing portion, which I knew I wasn't going to do well in the first place, but, at least you can get some marks for it. When I finished my theory part of the exam and walked back to the classroom, the teacher wasn't there. He just literally left, forgot about me, so I didn't get to do my sight singing portion. And you would think that because it was his mistake and he forgot to give me part of my exam, that you would get a no mark, like it wouldn't be counted against you in any way. No. They gave me a 0, which when your final exam is worth 30% of your grade and there's a whole section on your final exam that you literally got 0 on, you're not passing the class. So then at this point, I had failed the piano theory. I had failed the piano pedagogy. I had failed the piano theory. And then on top of all of this, you had to audition for the choirs. And guess who ran pretty much all of the choirs? You guessed it, the head of the music department, who hated me, thought I was stupid. And guess what the audition process was? You show up, you don't get to sing your own song to actually get what you're vocally capable of. Oh, no. He's going to hand you a piece of paper right then and there, and you have to sing it, aka sight singing, which I cannot do. Obviously failed the audition twice, and what do you know? Can't get into a choir, which you need to graduate. So at the end of the semester, there was this big old meeting between my mom, me, my dad was there, the Accessible Learning Center representative was there, the dean, I guess you would call it, was there, and this head of the music department was also there. And he basically said that not only does he think that I am just wholly incapable of being a musician, and he doesn't understand how I did so well in the Royal Conservatory of Music, which is the governing body of music in my area. I have several first-class honors with distinctions, getting 100% on several rudiments tests from this governing body, but all of a sudden I am failing in his classes. So he just didn't get how that was a thing. He also said that because I failed all 3 of these classes, my GPA in that particular section was too low. So it's not even it's too low, now you're on academic probation. Oh, no. It's too low, so now you're kicked out. And they basically told me to find a different major because I'm too stupid to do music. Yeah. When in actuality, they are breaking the law by not accommodating me. So I eventually switched over to film, which is why I do have my film degree. And I finished up the rest of my time there, and I actually was able to find a different way to get my music degree, which I'll probably discuss another time. But the reason why I'm telling you this story is because at the end of my 4 years, I'm just about to graduate. I took the time to do a bunch of research on dyslexia and how it affects music. And I printed all of this research out. It was like a big stack of paper. And I went up to the head of the music department. I knocked on his office door and I asked if I could speak to him. And he said, yeah. So I come in with my big stack of paper and I put it on his desk. And I said to him, I want you to read this. And he just starts skimming through this stuff and he looks up at me. He's like, oh, so it's not just you? And I said, no, this is a real thing. Here's research, here's scientific proof that dyslexia affects music as well. And, he was, I don't want to say he was speechless because he wasn't speechless. We had a little bit of a conversation, but he was kind of taken aback. And I distinctly remember, at the end of this conversation, I was walking out. And as I was walking out, he stopped me. And he's like, can I ask you something? And I said, sure. He's like, why did you bring this to me? And I said to him, because the next time that there's a kid like me who shows up in this music program, I hope that you can get a better understanding of what this actually is and you can treat them so much better than how you treated me. And I just walked out. Yes, I'm angry that I was treated the way that I was treated. Quite frankly, it's illegal the way that I was treated. But for me, what's most important at this point is that I hope that that teacher learned something. I hope that that teacher educated himself, and I hope that that teacher doesn't ever treat a student the way that he treated me. Because it is humiliating to basically be called stupid in front of your peers. It's humiliating to be kicked out of a program when you fully know that you're capable. I am capable. I just learn differently. I need to be accommodated. That's it. Learning disabilities affect so many things for so many people, and they're all different. No two people are exactly the same. And I hope that everyone, if someone says to you, I have a learning disability, I want them to just hear that person out and accommodate them. Just try and be understanding. No, we don't expect you to completely understand how our brain works. But when we say to you, hey, we need bigger fonts, or we need the notes given before class. These are things that shouldn't be an issue. There shouldn't be pushback. You shouldn't look at us any differently. Because a learning disability is kind of a misnomer. You're not disabled. It's not that you can't do. It's that you do differently. That's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this story. Let me know if you have any questions, if any of you have struggled with something similar. I would honestly love to talk to you about it. But I hope that I was able to raise some awareness for you. Don't forget to like this video and consider subscribing because I do make weekly music-related content. I will see you guys again next week. Bye.